Good afternoon. So I thought I would spend this windy afternoon talking about this fan that you see in front of me. A little backstory. I've been spending the last few years collecting vintage fans. I'm not much of a collector. I don't collect anything that just sits there like a picture or you know, sculpture or paintings or inanimate, I guess you would say inanimate objects. For me, if I'm going to ever do any collecting, it's got to be something that runs, drives, works, does something it's usable. That's what makes it interesting for me. So I picked up a couple vintage fans on back there a ways, and just something I like getting into. So I've been touring around in some of my spare time, taking some of my fun money and picking up some of these things. And so I've got quite a collection going now, which I will probably thin out at some point. But I picked this one up recently, and I thought, well, we need to take a look at this one for sure. We're probably going to take a look at all of them, get them going. But this one absolutely takes the cake. So this is a fan that someone has, I guess, I hate to use the word restored because this is far from restored. This is, the word I think I would use is hideous. But I picked this thing up, and I wasn't going to buy it at first because I'm trying to be careful about what you buy. Fans, kind of as a general rule, the later the fan is, the cheaper they are and the less desirable they are, according to those who decide how desirable antique fans are. I don't know who those people are, but according to them, you kind of avoid the later ones. So I was looking at this fan. I was trying to make a determination of how old it was and who it was, well, who made it, and all that kind of thing, and just its general condition. Its general condition is fairly poor, but someone has tried to rehab. It's the phone. Sorry about that. Someone has tried to rehab this, and the place I got this from, I've bought two other fans from them, and there's more to go. I don't want them because there's two more of them that are larger, but they've had the same treatment. They've had some kind of poor paint job, and it's awful. So anyway, we're going to get into this and look at this thing, and I'll show you what's been done to this poor thing. So this fan, the first thing, I didn't know how old it was, so I did a reverse image search, and this, I didn't know how old it was, didn't know what kind it is, anything about it, except that it's a fan. So turns out this is, according to the blade design on it, this is probably a early to mid 30s Emerson fan. It has no label on it. It should be something here that said Emerson, but it's not there. And the label, the motor label and the model number and all that would have been right here. And I don't know if someone just rubbed it off. It was not engraved. The older ones are engraved, but this one's riveted, but there's nothing there. So don't know what it was, but I think that's what this is. So sorry for the lighting. The most poor lighting you can have is direct above you, and that's what I have anywhere I'm at in here and around. So anyway, this is a early to mid, maybe even late 20s, but I don't think so. Probably the early to mid 30s Emerson tabletop fan. This is, I believe this is, yes, this is an oscillator. As you can see here, there's the oscillating mechanism. So most of the time, these earlier oscillators, these earlier oscillators still work, and this one probably will too. And this fan is supposed to run, but this fan is in terrible condition. It's not physically broken or anything, but here's what they've done to it. So the first thing when we're looking at this fan that they've done, and this is far too common, is they've got a couple cans of gloss black spray paint because for whatever reason, anybody that ever does an amateur restoration on these fans, they think they're all gloss black. And this one was black originally. I don't think it was gloss black. It was probably more of a matte finish, like a semi-gloss, but you can see that they didn't really put much effort into cleaning the surface up. There's flaking paint under it. It's just a terrible job. As I can tell by taking my finger and rubbing it, they just slapped some paint on it. They painted the cord, of course. See, there's paint on the cord, and that cord is not the correct cord anyway. That's probably a replacement. Most of them by now have been replaced, but that's not the right. That's a 50s or 60s that are on that cord. This would have had a twisted fabric cord in it originally. If you're wondering, I'm no fan of Authority, but if you're wondering why this thing has these holes drilled in the bottom of it, it's because that back in the old days when these were used extensively before the days of air conditioning, you could mount these to the wall somewhere. You mount it up on the wall like in a corner and plug it into an outlet somewhere around, and it would blow air down. These were available, but not like they are now. But these were used extensively, so that's what those are for. So the next thing I saw was that whoever did this, if you look in here, I see some remnants of cord. The cord that comes out there should be a transformer in the bottom of these. These normally always possess a transformer, and so anyway, then you have power going into the transformer, and then you have power out of the transformer. Probably to the switch in some order, and then it goes up into the motor itself. So someone has, not only have they wrapped this, poorly wrapped it, it looks like they may have tried to put shrink wrap on it. Not sure what that is, but something there. And then they painted over that, of course, and then so that's a fire hazard. So that's what you have there. So of course you can see the grommet, the rubber grommet is deteriorated. See, they didn't even do a good job of painting it. There's all that. They didn't even hit this back here, or it flaked back off. I don't know what they did. It's a horrible job of painting it. That's not all of it. Not only are the cords wrong, and the cords are dangerous, but you come around the front, I don't know if they've painted over the logo here. I think the logo is just, they probably had a decal on it, and it's gone. But check out these blades. So you think, well, boy, those must be brass blades. Well, no, they're not brass blades. They're aluminum blades, because this is a lower line fan, and they quit using brass blades by the 1920s, probably the late 1920s. What this is more amateur paint action. And not only did they, sorry about that, I'm on a group text with my coworkers, and I think one of them's having a milkshake and is telling everybody else about it today. Not only did they slap some gold, universal gold paint on this, which it's not supposed to have that. It's supposed to have, again, black paint. They scratched up the blades on it. You see all those scratch marks? It's got sand marks. That's what those are, actually. And then they've painted this cage here with silver spray paint. And you can get a good look there what kind of shape those blades in. This is hideous. This is the kind of thing that if you're gonna, this fan was better off before this person even touched it. I mean, they would have done less harm by just ignoring it, whatever it needed, and just putting a good cord on it. That's what I do. I wouldn't restore a fan like this until I was sure I could do a good job of it. But it does not have brass blades on it. It's not supposed to be that color. It's not supposed to be shiny black paint. It's sure not supposed to be spray can paint. But it does turn, and it states that it does run. But these fans, even back then, I mean, they're something nice to collect, when they have some value. But these blades, they just don't move a lot of air. They're a nice fan to have, just probably sit on a table here, kind of not far from you. I did also see down here, this has this type. This is the type of switch this slider switch that they used before they started doing rotary switches. And I notice when I'm trying to activate this switch, it's moving in there like it's broken. Something's broken in there. So let's flip this thing over real quick and continue the horror story here. So we come back here and look at the bottom of it. So there's I don't know what this is exactly on the bottom. It looks like they sprayed bed liner on it. But we have two screws here, two different screws. This looks like this is probably the correct one, and this is not the correct one. So let's loosen both of those. What did I do with my screwdriver? Oh, there it is. Hang on. Oh boy. Yeah, this is turning into nader weather out there. All right, so we'll try to do this with one hand here, hopefully. We'll see what kind of disaster lurks in here, because like I said, there's a transformer in here, and usually if it has a transformer, it has original wiring with it, which is cloth covered, kind of oily cloth impregnated, oil impregnated cloth stuff, and it's by now it's in poor condition normally. So I might just see what's wrong with this switch too. I might chop that cord off and just reuse that on another as a temporary cord for something else after I see if this one works. Okay, well, okay, so this fan does not have a transformer on it. I was wrong about that. So they did use wire nuts on it. Sorry about that. It is. So here's our switch. So oh, okay, I see. The problem with the switch is that the screw's missing. Yeah, so it just needs another appropriate screw right there. Matter of fact, I don't know, you tell me, you think they took that screw out and used it in? Nah, this one's a little bit large. That's a brass screw too, I think. Sure is. How about that? So anyway, so I can tell you now, this switch is not even hooked up. So they took the, I hope this is not stripped. I've yet to see anything on one of these old of a fan that's been stripped. I've never seen stripped screws, stripped threads, stripped anything. Yeah, there's the switch right there. So these are just a simple slider switch. See, they're supposed to have connections on there. So this is the reason why it doesn't have a transformer. I just realized that this is a single speed fan. So what it is, if it's a dual speed fan or tri-speed, then it has to have a transformer, just like it's like a resistor, I guess, maybe a resistor. Not that sure, but this switch, I love stuff like this because you see how well this thing's built. I mean, it's probably 9 years old, and it's very simple. You just have, this would be off, I guess, right here, and then because it's upside down, that would be to the left would be off, because there's nothing going to this terminal. And then this is your power terminal, so all has to happen is you just turn it the other way, and it makes the circuit from there to there. So simple as pie there. Why they didn't fix that, I don't know. They're lazy, I guess. I run into a lot of lazy people. Yeah, that's the wrong cord in there. That's what they call zip cord. That stuff, come on, camera. That stuff that's in there, that's going up there, that's all wrong. That's not supposed to be there, but we can fix that after we determine if this thing will run, which I assume it will, but I'd like to see what these little oh, knocked over my shaker over there. Good thing that didn't have any salt in it. All right, so let's see. Got a couple numbers here, 6289. Not sure what, oh well, come on dude, operate the camera. Not sure what that says there, that stamp. I need to, you can't see it, there we go. That looks like an FC. Well, it is an FC, so we may be wrong about this being an Emerson, but that may be the casting mark for the base in the 62890. I have to research this because a lot of these either had like some of them had a label on them, but this one wouldn't. This thing's even bent. Look at this. Well, anyway, so. Well, so there you have it. So this is a complete disaster of a attempted restoration of a table fan. So again, if you're, well, I don't know. I'd say if you're that bad at it, but the thing is, the people that do crap like this, they don't know they're that bad at it. Somebody did this, and they walked away from this thing, this poor fan, after doing all this, and they thought probably one of two things. They probably thought, man, that thing looks so much better than it did before, and it's awesome. Or they thought, boy, I've just added about double the value to this. Well, let me refute both of those. No, it doesn't look better than it did because you did it totally incorrectly wrong because you didn't know what you're doing. And the second thing is, no, you didn't add any value to it. You probably diminished the value by about half. Because people, here's the thing about I'm in a position in my career where I have to interact with a lot of different people, and I've learned something that people tend to do things based on the idea they get in their head. That either whether it's reality or it's not, that's what they do. So somebody when they this is what I would call it. I call these things fantasy restorations because it's like a kid's idea about what something should look like. They look at the fan and it's all black, and they think, well, that fan isn't supposed to be all black. Yes, it is. But to them, they thought, no, it's not supposed to be all black. It's supposed to look like an old-timey fan with brass blades and a chrome guard, which this never had. It was all black and all boring. But anyway, you see the crap that they ended up with. So don't do stuff like this. If you're not any better at it, if you're not going to spend any more effort to do the right job, the job the right way, if you're not going to do that, then leave it alone. Go do something else. If you want to spray paint something, go find something else to dab a bunch of spray paint on, and leave stuff like this that's a legitimate antique. Leave it the hell alone because you're just ruining it. You don't have the wherewithal to do it. You don't have the talent to do it. Apparently, you may have. Not trying to knock anybody down, but according to whoever did this, like I said, I don't know if this was maybe a kid tried to do this. If it's an adult tried to do this, they ought to be ashamed of themselves because this is horrible. It's a terrible job. So, you know, just telling it like it is. But anyway, I will probably do will it run on this fan or whatever. I don't know. We'll see what we get into with it, but I thought I would show you this thing, and this can all be fixed. So I'm not going to stress over it. But anyway. One last thing too. I don't know if I mentioned this, but the reason why that these old oscillators usually work is because they have a gearbox in them back there, and the gearbox has usually got a good, real stout worm drive gear in it, so they usually all work. We'll see if this one does. Okay, everybody, have a good one. Thanks for watching.